In this video, you'll learn 5 shadowing techniques so you can practice speaking fluently by yourself. If you're new here, hallo Freunde, my name's Matthew. I used to work for Fluent Forever, and I was mentored by the American polyglot and best-selling author Gabriel Weiner. Since branching out on my own, I've just realized that I still love learning languages, and I've developed my own tools and techniques to help you. Before we dive into the 5 techniques, let's understand what is shadowing and why is it so effective. Shadowing is when you listen to someone speaking in another language and you try to speak what they say at the exact same time. It helps to improve your listening, your pronunciation, and your speaking skills. Now, shadowing is actually different from just simple repetition. I've actually got confused with this myself. Shadowing is a lot more than just repeating what someone else says. When you shadow, you immediately say what you hear without a script. The audio of the speaker doesn't pause to give you time to speak. Instead, you have to do it simultaneously. It's like a shadow following a person, walking and moving about. You too have to be like that shadow. In repetition, on the other hand, you repeat chunks of speech after you hear them. When you shadow, you are copying the speech of the other person at the exact same time. And this makes it more challenging, but it can be very effective. Now let me show you the difference between shadowing and repetition with some clear examples. This is an American English audio about watching movies to improve your English. Now I'm going to shadow that audio by trying to speak at the exact same time as the speaker.
American movies can offer some of the most natural examples of spoken American English.
There you can see I tried to shadow the speaker without any script at all. Now let's hear an example of repetition.
American movies
can offer some of the most
natural examples
of
spoken American English.
So why should you practice shadowing to improve your speaking skills in a foreign language? Well, there are a number of studies on shadowing, and one of them comes to mind, which is a recent study in Korea that studied 138 participants. Shadowing was found to be more effective than traditional speaking methods for improving speaking proficiency, for increasing interest and motivation, and this applied for various levels of proficiency, but especially for beginners and intermediates. Now, another study examined advanced language learners who shadowed famous sitcoms like Friends or The Big Bang Theory, and they shadowed these audios for a period of about 8 weeks. By the end of the 8 weeks of shadowing, these language learners showed significant improvements in their ability to imitate native speakers, their ability to be understood, and they were found to be more fluent. Now, I bet you're wondering, where can I find audio content in my target language so I can use them to do this shadowing techniques? Now, there are a lot of different sources that you could find audios to shadow, such as Netflix, YouTube, audiobooks, podcasts, news, TV, movies. Wow, anything you can get your hands on that has audio input for you to shadow. Having the audio is the main thing, and a script is certainly useful, but it's optional. If you're studying one of the rarer foreign languages, then an option might be to record audios from a native speaker who says certain phrases or sentences, and then you can practice shadowing using those recordings. If you don't know where to start with all this and you're having trouble finding good audios of native speakers and there aren't any scripts or text aligned to those audios, then I've made it easy for you. I've gathered different audiobooks in different foreign languages along with their text and scripts. So you can start studying with ease right now. Just go into the description below and you'll see the link and you can get started with this free resource for shadowing. Let's continue now to the 5 shadowing techniques that can help you with your speaking skills by yourself. Technique 1, standard shadowing. Standard shadowing is what most learners refer to when they talk about shadowing. It's all about repeating an audio in the foreign language and trying to do so as closely and simultaneously as possible. A key goal of standard shadowing is for you to hear the distinct sounds of the language and to improve your listening comprehension. And when you can improve your listening and your ability to hear sounds in that language, you're then able to produce those unique sounds a lot better when you speak. Now here are the steps to practice the standard shadowing technique. 1. Choose an audio. Pick an audio that you like or are interested in that target language. 2. Listen and shadow. Play the audio and try to repeat what you hear at the exact same time. 3. Focus on sounds. Keep up with the fast speech and pay more attention to the patterns of sounds that you hear and the differences between them. Paying attention to those sounds in what you hear will actually be more important than your ability to speak out the exact sounds. 4. Practice regularly. Dedicate at least 5 to 10 minutes each day to this practice. Now let me try an example of this with a TV interview in British English.
Wow. I think I did 7 or 8 different auditions. I flew out to Atlanta multiple times for different screen tests. And then when I was going for my last audition, I was driving there, I was very nervous, and I had this driver, a lovely guy, but a little bit too honest. And
I think I did 7 or 8 different auditions. I flew out to Atlanta multiple times for different screen tests. And I was going for my last audition. I was driving there and I was really nervous and I had this driver, a lovely guy, but a little too honest. And I think I did 7 or 8 different auditions. I flew out to Atlanta multiple times for different screen tests. And I was going for my last audition. I was driving there and I was really nervous and I had this driver, a lovely guy, but a little too honest. And phew, as you can see there, standard shadowing can actually be quite challenging and it's more recommended for intermediate to advanced learners. I'm a native English speaker and even that for me, trying to speak at the same time as a celebrity in an interview can be tough. So that's why standard shadowing may not be the best option for you if you're still at the beginner to intermediate levels. And instead, I suggest Technique 2, Mumbled shadowing. Now, mumbled shadowing or mumbling is very similar to the standard shadowing approach. The main difference is that you'll be shadowing at a lower volume and without as much mouth movements. This is great for getting started without feeling too overwhelmed. And just in case you don't know what mumbling is, mumbling means when you make various sounds and little mouth movements without enunciating or clearly saying what you want to say. It's like this. It's kind of like this where you mumble and you don't really say clearly what you want to say. So here are the steps to practice mumbled shadowing. 1. Select an audio. Choose an easy audio in your target language. 2. Mumble along. Play the audio and try to repeat what's being said by mumbling at a low volume. And you don't need to move your mouth as clearly or as wide as when you normally speak. 3. Gradually increase the volume. As you get more comfortable, you can increase the volume of your speech and improve the clarity of how you talk. 4. Practice daily. Now spend 5 to 10 minutes each day doing this mumbled shadowing technique. Now let me try this technique with some easy French audios of street interviews.
Oui. Je vais très souvent au restaurant. En fait, j'habite pas plus ici en France. J'habite à Dubaï. Et quand je reviens à Paris, j'y vais 2-3 fois par semaine.
So as you can see, sometimes the native speakers will be speaking fast and you just can't keep up with them. And it'll be totally fine if you mumble your shadowing. The main thing is to continuously focus on hearing the different sounds and trying your best to speak at the same time, even if it's at a lower voice with less mouth movement. If you're still struggling with shadowing, then try technique number 3, shadowing with a script. Usually when you shadow, you don't use a script, but in this case, using a script can make shadowing more manageable. When you've got that script in front of you, this helps with keeping up with the audio and helps you to process all of that input. Here are the steps to practice shadowing with a script. 1. Find an audio with a transcript. Choose an audio in your target language that has a written transcript available. Now remember, if you're having trouble finding audios with a corresponding transcript in your target language, I've collected different books with their audiobook versions, and I'm giving that to you for free so you can get started shadowing with a script and practice these techniques right now. 2. Read along. Listen to the audio while following along with the script. 3. Shadow. Repeat the audio as simultaneously as possible while you read the respective script. 4. Gradually remove the script. Once you get more comfortable, try shadowing without using the script. Here's an example of shadowing with the script using a Mandarin Chinese song and its lyrics.
我的世界变得奇妙跟那一夜。
我的世界变得奇妙跟那一夜。So as you can see, you can have a lot of fun with shadowing with a script, and if it's still a lot of trouble, another good technique for beginners and intermediates is technique number 4, phrase shadowing. Phrase shadowing involves repeating shorter chunks so that it's less taxing on your memory and it's a lot easier to manage. Here are the steps to practice phrase shadowing. 1. Choose a phrase. Choose short phrases from an audio clip in your target language. 2. Listen and repeat. Hear that phrase audio and repeat it as fast as you can. 3. Focus on sounds. Within that short phrase, try and hear and speak out the patterns of sounds. 4. Increase complexity. As you get more comfortable, increase the length of the phrases that you shadow. Let's do phrase shadowing with a German vlogger as an example.
Es ist so unreal.
Es ist so unreal. Es ist so unreal. If all of those techniques were too easy for you, try technique 5, prosody shadowing. This is great for upper intermediate and advanced language learners. With prosody shadowing, you're going to be focusing more on the stress, rhythm, and intonation of speech. These are the high-level, subtle nuances of the spoken language. And prosody shadowing is excellent for improving fluency and comprehensibility. These are the steps to practice prosody shadowing. 1. Select an audio. Choose an audio in your target language with clear prosody. This means that the speaker in the audio has rhythm, stress, and intonation that you want to mimic. 2. Shadow with focus. Repeat what's being said in the audio with special attention to those prosody features. 3. Imitate intonation, stress, and rhythm. Try to match the speaker's intonation, their stress and rhythm as closely as possible. 4. Record and review. Record your shadowing sessions and compare your audios with that of the native speaker. When you do this, you can identify areas of improvement for your spoken fluency. Here's an example of prosody shadowing for a Mexican Spanish podcast.
Ese es el sueño perfecto. Está viviendo la vida. Está haciendo su pasión.
Ese es el sueño perfecto. Está viviendo la vida. Está haciendo su pasión. As you can see in that podcast audio, the speaker is really expressing his intonation, his stress and rhythm by showing his passion and opinion very strongly. And you could copy that too with your prosody shadowing. Now these 5 shadowing techniques can certainly help you practice speaking fluently by yourself. And if you want to learn more techniques about speaking alone, then check out my other videos on this channel.